The battle that took everything. The night sky burned with fire. Explosions shook the earth as human ships clashed with the alien fleet. The world was at war, and no one knew who would live to see another sunrise. Smoke filled the air, turning day into night. Soldiers screamed, weapons roared, and the ground itself cracked under the force of destruction. In the middle of this chaos was Captain Darius, a man who had already lost too much to the war. His wife had died in the early invasion, and now his only family, his little daughter Ilara, was all he had left. She was only 8 years old, with bright eyes and a laugh that once made even the darkest days feel light. He had promised her that he would always protect her. But in war, promises were fragile things. That night, the enemy attacked harder than ever before. Alien ships rained fire across the city, turning towers into rubble. Sirens screamed through the streets as civilians ran for safety. Darius carried Ilara through the smoke, holding her close, whispering, "I won't let them take you. Not you, too." His heart pounded not from fear for himself, but for the small heartbeat pressed against his chest. But fate was cruel. A thunderous blast ripped the ground apart only steps away from him. The force threw them through the air. Dust and fire swallowed everything. When Darius opened his eyes, his ears rang with silence. He reached for his daughter, but she was gone. His desperate eyes searched through smoke and rubble until he spotted a tiny hand. "Ilara!" he screamed, his voice breaking. He crawled toward her, his hands bleeding on shattered stone. He could see her small form lying in the dust, unmoving. Before he could reach her, another explosion erupted, blinding him with light. The world collapsed around him. Hours later, when the smoke cleared, the battlefield was nothing but ruins. Bodies of soldiers and civilians lay scattered like broken dolls. The city was gone, and in that silence Darius searched, tearing through rubble with bloodied hands. He called her name again and again, until his voice was raw, but he never found her. Only her small necklace remained, a silver chain with a tiny star pendant. He clutched it to his chest and fell to his knees, his cries echoing across the ruins. In his heart, he knew what no father ever wanted to believe. His daughter was gone. Years passed, but the memory of that night never left him. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the fire. Every time he dreamed, he heard her voice calling for him. He became a soldier hardened by grief, a commander who no longer smiled. People said he was a hero of the war, but inside he felt only emptiness. Peace came slowly, fragile and weak. The aliens retreated and humanity began to rebuild from ashes. Cities rose again, but scars of war remained carved into the earth and into hearts. For Darius, peace was nothing but silence. He lived with one truth: his daughter was dead and nothing could change that. Until one night, a captured enemy ship was dragged into the human base. Its hull was scarred, its crew defeated. Among the prisoners was a young girl with long dark hair and strange alien markings glowing faintly on her skin. She kept her head low, avoiding every gaze until her eyes accidentally met Darius's. He froze. His heart stopped. Those eyes, those bright, familiar eyes, were the same ones he had kissed goodnight so many times before. The same eyes he had seen close forever under the fire of war. The girl looked at him with fear, but also something else: recognition. Darius felt the world spin around him. He whispered one name, trembling, as if speaking it would break the fragile dream in front of him. "Ilara." The girl flinched, and for a moment it seemed as if time itself had stopped. Then, with a voice trembling like a forgotten memory, she spoke a single word: "Father." The face I couldn't forget. For a moment, Captain Darius could not breathe. The noise of the prison bay faded into silence. Soldiers shouted orders. Engines roared and prisoners groaned in pain, but he heard none of it. His eyes were fixed on the girl who stood in chains, her gaze locked on his. Those eyes were not a dream. They were not a trick of light or a cruel imagination. They were his daughter's eyes. Darius stepped forward, his legs weak as though the earth had turned to water beneath him. The soldiers around him tensed, confused by the sudden change in their commander. The girl's alien guards tried to pull her back, but she stood still, frozen as if waiting for him to move closer. "Who is she?" Darius demanded, his voice sharp. One of the alien captives snarled.
"She is ours."
"A child of our people. She belongs to us now." The words burned through him like fire. Belongs to them? How could they claim his daughter as their own? The girl lifted her head, and for the first time he saw her face clearly. It was older now, sharper, stronger. But beneath the strange alien markings etched across her skin, he saw the softness of the little girl he once held in his arms. The curve of her smile, the shape of her jaw, it was all Alara, and yet she was different. Her skin glowed faintly in the dim light, veins lit with an otherworldly shimmer. Her hair was darker, longer, and her eyes held both fear and something else, something he could not name. "Speak," he whispered. His voice broke despite his effort to sound strong. The girl hesitated. Her lips parted, trembling, before she whispered one word. "Father." The world stopped. Darius staggered back as if struck. He had dreamed of hearing that word again, but never like this. Not from a child half changed into something else. Soldiers glanced at each other, murmuring in disbelief. Some crossed themselves, others stared at their commander with wide eyes. "She remembers you," one soldier muttered. But doubt cut through Darius's chest. He wanted to believe, but how could he? His daughter had died years ago. He had seen her fall. Could this be a trick? A weapon made by the enemy to break him? The alien guard smirked. "She is no longer your blood. She has been with us since the war. She is one of us now. Your human ties mean nothing." Rage boiled inside him. He grabbed the guard by the throat and slammed him against the wall. "You will tell me everything. Who is she? What have you done to her?" The alien only laughed, even as blood trickled from his lips. "Ask the girl yourself, if you dare." Darius turned back to her. His hands shook. His heart screamed that this was Alara, his lost child. But his mind whispered caution. If she was truly his daughter, why was she standing among them? Why did her skin carry their markings? "Alara," he said, his voice softer now, breaking under the weight of hope and fear. "Do you remember me?" The girl's eyes glistened. Slowly she nodded. "I remember your voice. I remember you singing when I was scared." The words pierced his soul. He remembered holding her during storms, whispering lullabies until she fell asleep. He remembered her clinging to his arm, asking if the monsters would ever find them. But then, to his horror, she began to hum. The melody was the same lullaby he had sung to her as a child, but it was twisted, changed. She sang it in the alien tongue, her voice echoing with strange power. Darius felt his heart stop. It was her. Only Alara could have known that song, and yet the sound was so foreign, so unnatural, that it chilled him to the bone. "She remembers," one soldier whispered. "It has to be her." But another spat, "Or it is a trap." The aliens could have planted false memories. Darius ignored them. He took a step closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "Alara, if it is truly you, tell me, do you want to come home?" For a long moment she said nothing. Her chains rattled as her hands trembled. Finally she whispered, "Home? I don't know where that is anymore." The words cut deeper than any blade. Darius clenched his fists. His daughter was alive, yet stolen. Twisted, raised by the very monsters who had destroyed their world. He should have felt joy, but instead a storm raged inside him. Was she his little girl, or was she something else now? The alien commander stepped forward, his chains clinking. His voice was calm, almost mocking. "You see, human, she is not yours. She never was. We saved her from death, and in return she belongs to us. If you take her, she will never survive in your world." Darius's jaw tightened. He looked into his daughter's trembling eyes, saw both fear and hope flickering there, and made a silent vow. It didn't matter what the aliens claimed. It didn't matter what she had become. She was his daughter, and he would not lose her again. But deep inside, a shadow of doubt whispered, if he tried to take her back, would she choose him? Or them? Blood or betrayal, the prison chamber was silent after the girl's whispered words. Darius could still hear the melody of the lullaby echoing in his head. It was the same song he once sang to Alara, but hearing it in the alien tongue sent a shiver down his spine. The soldiers around him exchanged nervous looks. Some whispered prayers, others muttered curses. Darius stood frozen. His heart wanted to believe. His mind screamed caution. "Alara," he whispered again. The name felt fragile on his lips, as though saying it too loudly might shatter the moment. The girl lowered her head. Her chains rattled softly as she whispered, "You should not call me that. They gave me another name. They call me Ceres." The sound of that alien name cut into Darius like a knife. Ceres? No, she was Alara. His Alara. "You are not Ceres," he said sharply. "You are my daughter." The alien commander laughed bitterly from his corner. His hands were bound, but his voice carried authority. "Your daughter died in the war. What you see now is something else. We gave her life. We gave her power. She is no longer yours, human." Darius's hand trembled near the holster of his weapon. He wanted to silence the alien forever, but his eyes stayed on the girl. Power? What had they done to her? "Ilara," he said softly. "Do you remember the night of the storm? When thunder scared you? I held you close and told you the monsters outside could not reach you." The girl's lips parted, her voice shaky. "You told me, the stars were watching, that they would keep me safe." The memory was hers. No alien could have planted such a small, private moment. The soldiers around them gasped. It had to be her. There was no denying it now, and yet doubt lingered. The alien markings on her skin glowed faintly, pulsing like living fire. Her voice carried an echo not human. She was his daughter, but changed. Changed in ways he could not understand. "Why didn't you come back?" Darius asked suddenly. His voice cracked, filled with years of grief and anger. "If you remembered me, why didn't you try to return? Why stay with them?" The question struck her like a blow. Tears filled her eyes, but she shook her head. "You don't understand. I couldn't. They needed me. They said you abandoned me. They told me you never came." Darius's breath caught in his throat. His fists clenched. "They lied." He thundered. "I searched the ruins for days. I tore through fire and ash with my bare hands, calling your name. I never stopped looking. Never." The girl flinched at the raw fury in his voice. Her chains rattled as she backed away, torn between two truths. The alien commander smiled. "She does not belong to you anymore. Her blood is ours now. Her body is stronger than yours, her mind sharper. She is one of us." Darius glared at him, then turned back to Ilara. "Do not listen to them. You are human, my blood, my daughter." But she hesitated. Her glowing veins pulsed brighter, and the air around her seemed to hum with energy. The soldiers whispered in fear. She was more than human, and she knew it. "I don't know what I am anymore," she whispered. Darius stepped closer, ignoring the fear of his men. He lowered his voice. "Then let me help you remember. Do you recall the song I sang to you every night before sleep?" She nodded, tears falling down her cheeks. "The song of the little star." "Then sing it," he said, desperate to prove to everyone and to himself that she was still his Alara. Her lips trembled, and she began to sing. The words were broken, shifting between human tongue and alien language. Her voice carried a strange resonance, like two voices overlapping. It was beautiful and terrifying at once. Darius felt tears burn in his eyes. It was her. It had to be. But then the glow in her skin flared. The chains binding her hands cracked as energy surged through her. Soldiers raised their rifles in panic. "Hold your fire!" Darius barked. Alara screamed, not in pain but in rage. The sound shook the walls. Her power burst free, shattering her restraints. The soldiers stumbled back as a shockwave blasted across the chamber. Sparks rained from broken lights. When the dust settled, she stood free, her chest heaving, her eyes glowing with alien fire. The soldiers raised their weapons again, shouting, "Commander, she's dangerous. She's not human." Darius raised a hand, his voice fierce. "Stand down. Do not touch her." Ilara looked at him, fear and fury battling in her eyes. "You say I am your daughter, but what if they are right? What if I'm only their weapon?" The words cut through Darius like steel. For the first time, he saw the doubt inside her, the fear that she was no longer the girl he lost, but something created by the enemy. He stepped forward, slowly, carefully. His voice softened, shaking with emotion. "Even if they changed your blood, even if they carved their marks on your skin, you are still Alara. You are still mine." She trembled, caught between him and the enemy who had raised her. Between blood and betrayal, the alien commander's voice echoed in the silence. "Choose, child, them or us." Darius's heart pounded. Everything depended on her answer. And in that moment, Ilara closed her eyes, her lips parting as if to speak. The secret experiment. The silence after the alien's challenge was heavy, like a blade hanging in the air. All eyes were fixed on the girl, on Alara or Saris or whatever name she carried now. Her hand still glowed faintly with the strange light that had shattered her chains. Her chest rose and fell as if she were fighting herself, torn between two worlds. Darius could barely breathe. He wanted to step forward, to hold her, but he feared that one wrong move might drive her away forever. The girl looked at him, then at the alien commander. Finally, she whispered, "Tell me the truth. No more lies." The commander tilted his head, a sly smile spreading across his scarred face. "The truth, child? Very well, let him hear it too. Let him suffer." Darius's eyes narrowed. His hand hovered near his weapon, ready for any trick. The alien spoke slowly, savoring every word. "The night of the great battle, you were dying. Buried under fire and stone. Your fragile human body was broken. If we had left you, you would have perished like the rest of your kind. But we saw potential. We saw in you something rare, something that could save us." Ilara's trembling fingers brushed the glowing marks on her skin. "Save you how?" The commander's smile deepened. "You were not healed. You were remade. We fused your blood with ours, your bones with our strength, your mind with our knowledge. You are no longer fully human, no longer one of them. You are something greater, a bridge between our species, a living weapon." The words struck like thunder. Darius's breath caught. He had expected lies, manipulation, but the raw confidence in the alien's voice told him this was no trick. His daughter had not simply been taken, she had been changed. "No," Darius growled. "You experimented on her. You twisted her. You stole her from me." The alien leaned forward, his chains rattling. "We saved her from death, and in return she is ours. Without us she would have been buried in the ruins, forgotten. Do you not see, human? Your daughter lives because of us." Ilara's knees weakened and she sank to the floor, clutching her head. Fragments of memories flashed inside her mind. Fire, rubble, strange hands pulling her from darkness. Voices chanting in a tongue she barely understood. Pain flooding her veins as alien light consumed her. She gasped. "I remember." Darius dropped to his knees beside her, ignoring the protests of his men. He reached for her hands, though the glow burned his skin. "Alara, look at me. They used you. They made you into something you never asked for. But you are not theirs. You are mine, my daughter." Her eyes, shimmering with tears, met his. "But, dead father, what if they're right? What if I can't be human again? What if I'm only what they made me?" Darius's heart twisted. He saw the same fear he had once seen in her when she was a child hiding from storms. The same fear, but deeper now, rooted in her very blood. The alien commander's voice thundered through the chamber. "She cannot escape what she is. She belongs to us. If you take her, her body will fail. She cannot survive among humans anymore. The transformation is incomplete. She needs us or she will die." The soldiers around them shifted uneasily. Some believed the alien's words. Others tightened their grip on their rifles, ready to shoot if the girl lost control again. Darius clenched his teeth. His voice was steel. "You lie. You twist everything to chain her to you. She is stronger than you know. She will live. She will survive with me." The alien only laughed. "You are blind, human? You think blood alone binds you. But she is more than your daughter now. She is destiny." Alara shook her head violently. "Stop it, both of you." Her voice cracked, carrying power that shook the walls. "I don't want to be a weapon. I don't want to be your experiment. I just want to know who I am." The chamber fell into silence. Her glowing veins dimmed as she collapsed into Darius's arms, exhausted. He held her close, whispering into her hair, "You are Ilara. That is enough." But inside, doubt gnawed at him. Could she really survive in the human world? Could he protect her from both the aliens and his own people, who would fear what she had become? The alien commander's eyes gleamed as if reading his thoughts. "Choose carefully, human. If you take her, she will suffer. If you leave her, she will thrive. Either way, she is not yours anymore." Darius looked down at his daughter, fragile in his arms yet filled with power beyond imagination. His heart hardened with resolve. He had already lost her once. He would not lose her again. "I don't care what you did to her," he said, his voice shaking with fury. "She is my daughter, and I will fight anyone, human or alien, who tries to take her from me." For the first time, fear flickered in the alien commander's eyes, But in the shadows of the chamber, unseen by both sides, a silent figure watched with interest. Someone far more powerful than the chained alien. Someone who had been waiting for this reunion. And as Elara stirred weakly in her father's arms, the figure whispered to itself, "It begins!" Escape through fire. The chamber walls still shook with the echo of Elara's scream. Smoke curled from shattered lights, and the soldiers' rifles trembled in their hands. Darius tightened his grip around his daughter, shielding her from both his men and the alien prisoners. He could feel her heartbeat racing against his chest, faster than any humans, like a storm trapped inside fragile skin. "Commander," one soldier whispered urgently, "we can't keep her here." "She's dangerous." "She's not dangerous," Darius snapped. "She's scared. She's mine." But deep inside he knew the soldier wasn't wrong. The energy pulsing in her veins was like a ticking bomb. One wrong move and she could bring the entire base down. Before Darius could answer further, alarms blared across the facility. Red lights flashed, bathing the chamber in a bloody glow. A voice thundered from the intercom. "Warning! Enemy reinforcements approaching. All units prepare for combat." The alien commander's lips curved into a cold smile. "They're coming for her. You cannot stop them." Darius's heart sank. He had no time. If the enemy reached her first, he would lose her forever. "Secure the prisoners," he barked at his men. "I'll take the girl." "We move now." The soldiers hesitated, torn between obedience and fear, but his voice left no room for doubt. Darius pulled Elara to her feet. She was weak, her legs shaking, but her eyes glowed faintly as she clung to his arm. "Father, I don't know if I can hold it in. The power. It hurts." "You don't need to hold it in," he whispered fiercely. "You just need to trust me." With that, he led her out of the chamber, down steel corridors that trembled with distant explosions. Sirens wailed, boots thundered, and shadows of approaching alien soldiers flickered against the walls. They burst into the open air. The night sky above was alive with fire, alien ships descending, human defenses lighting up the heavens. The ground shook as blasts tore through the city beyond the base. Darius dragged Elara through the chaos, ducking behind broken walls, dodging falling debris. Bullets hissed and energy beams scorched the earth. Every step was survival, every breath borrowed, but the enemy was closing fast. Alien soldiers with glowing blades cut through human lines, their eyes fixed on the girl. Darius knew what they wanted. They didn't care about the base, the soldiers, or even the war. They wanted Elara. "Father," she gasped, clutching her chest. "They're calling me. I can hear them inside my head. Block them out." He shouted. "You are not theirs." "You are mine." A blast struck nearby, throwing them both to the ground. Dust and fire filled the air. Darius coughed, struggling to rise when he saw a squad of alien warriors advancing, their weapons raised. He raised his rifle, ready to fight, but before he could fire, Elara screamed. Her body erupted in light. A shockwave exploded outward, tearing the ground apart, throwing enemy soldiers like rag dolls. The air crackled with raw energy as her glowing veins blazed brighter than ever. The soldiers behind Darius fell back in terror. "She'll kill us all," one shouted. But Darius stood firm, shielding her with his own body even as the energy seared his skin. "Elara, look at me!" "Focus." Her eyes, glowing white, locked on his. I can't stop it." "Yes, you can," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "You are stronger than them. Stronger than this. You're my daughter, Elara. You are not a weapon. You are you." Her scream faded into sobs. Slowly, painfully, the light dimmed. The shockwave ended. Smoke rose from shattered ground, and the battlefield fell eerily silent. But silence never lasted long in war. From the sky, a massive alien ship descended, its shadow swallowing the ruins below. Searchlights swept across the ground until they found her. A deep mechanical voice boomed from the vessel. "Return the child, or burn." Darius's jaw tightened. He looked at the ship, then at Elara, trembling in his arms. His soldiers were scattered, morale broken. The enemy was too strong. If he stayed, they would be crushed. "Come on," he whispered, pulling her toward the forest at the edge of the base. "We have to disappear." They ran through smoke and fire, chased by enemy drones. Trees cracked as beams of energy sliced through the forest. The night was alive with chaos, but Darius never let go of her hand. Every step he told himself the same truth. He had already lost her once. He would not lose her again. At last they stumbled into the deeper woods, the burning glow of the battlefield fading behind them. The forest was dark, silent except for their ragged breaths. For the first time since the escape began, they were hidden. Elara collapsed against a tree, clutching her head. "Father, what's happening to me? Every time I use the power, I feel less human." Darius knelt beside her, brushing her hair from her face. His voice was firm, unshaken. "Listen to me. You are not less human. You are more. They tried to turn you into a weapon, but they forgot one thing." She looked at him through tear-streaked cheeks. "What? You're my daughter," he said. "And nothing they do will change that." Her lips trembled. For the first time since he found her, she smiled. Just a small, broken smile, but it was hers. Yet even as Darius pulled her close, the forest around them shifted. Strange lights glowed between the trees. Shadows moved where no soldier stood. And a low hum echoed in the night, deeper and more menacing than anything from the battlefield. Elara's smile faded. Her grip tightened on his hand. "Father." "They're still coming." Darius rose to his feet, raising his rifle. His eyes burned with determination. "Then let them come." A father's choice. The forest was quiet, but the silence was heavy with tension. Smoke from the destroyed battlefield lingered in the air, and the glow from Elara's veins had faded to a soft shimmer. Darius stood behind a fallen tree, rifle ready, eyes scanning the darkness. Every shadow seemed alive, every rustle a threat. Elara sat on the ground, hugging her knees, exhausted and trembling. The events of the night had drained her, but the fear in her eyes was not just from the battle, it was from herself. From the power inside her, from the choice she did not yet understand. Darius knelt beside her. "We can't stay here," he said softly. "They will find us. The aliens will not stop. And even humans. Humans may not understand you." Elara shook her head. "I'm not like them, Father. Or you, I can feel it. I can feel the power in me. Every time I try to control it, it's like I'm losing a piece of myself." Darius's jaw tightened. He had expected this. He had known her powers might scare humans, but he had never expected the weight of fear in her voice. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "You are my daughter. Nothing changes that. Not their experiments, not your powers, not anything. You belong with me." But even as he said the words, the distant sound of engines and alien searchlights reminded him of reality. He couldn't protect her forever. The humans who had survived the war might see her as a threat. The aliens would stop at nothing to take her back. He had to make a choice. Elara looked at him, her eyes full of trust and fear. "Father, if I go with you, will they die because of me, or will I destroy everything we fought for?" Darius's heart twisted. The thought of losing her again, or worse, of seeing her hurt others, was unbearable. He swallowed hard, trying to find the right words. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I do know one thing. You are not alone. Whatever happens, I will face it with you. Together." A sudden rustle from the trees drew their attention. Figures appeared, human soldiers from their side, weapons trained on them. Darius recognized Captain Mara, a trusted officer, her face grim. "Commander Darius," she said sharply, "we've received orders. That child, she is not safe. She is too dangerous. We have orders to contain her. If necessary, neutralize her." Darius's hands shook. He lowered his rifle slowly, glaring at Mara. "Neutralize her. She's my daughter." Mara's eyes were cold. "We can't take chances. Her power, it could kill thousands. You know that." "You've seen it," Darius's mind raced. He could fight them, yes, but the risk was too high. Every choice carried danger, every decision could cost lives. Yet standing there, he looked at Elara, fragile yet radiant, and he knew what he had to do. "Father, what do we do?" she whispered, her voice trembling. He knelt and took her hands in his. "We have to disappear," he said. "Leave both humans and aliens behind. We can find a place where you can learn to control your power, where no one will try to use you as a weapon." Elara's eyes filled with tears. "But what if they never let me go? What if they come for me again?" "They might," he admitted. "But I will fight them. All of them. Every soldier, every ship, every weapon. I will protect you." A heavy silence followed. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Darius felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He was not just a father now. He was a protector of something far greater than himself. His daughter was a bridge between species, a being who could shape the future. And the choice he had made would change everything. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air. The glow from Alara's veins flared again, brighter than before. She looked at him, fear and uncertainty in her gaze. "Father, I feel them," she whispered. "They are coming. The aliens. They found us." Darius's jaw hardened. He pulled her close, whispering fiercely, "Then we run. We survive, and when the time comes, you will decide who you are. Not them, not me, you." The hum grew louder, and the ground beneath them trembled. Darius lifted his rifle, ready to face whatever came. But his focus was not on the enemy. It was on the girl in his arms, the daughter he had lost once and would not lose again. Alara's small hands gripped his jacket. "Father, promise me." "I promise," he said firmly. "I will never let them take you. Not now, not ever." From the shadows, the alien commander appeared, his eyes glowing with anticipation. "You cannot hide, human. She is ours by right. Surrender her, or all you love will burn." Darius stood taller, the forest behind him alive with whispers of wind and firelight. "She is not yours," he said. "She is mine, and if you want her, you'll have to go through me." Alara looked up at him, unsure, trembling, but trusting. For the first time in years, Darius felt hope stir in his heart. He knew the path ahead would be impossible, but one thing was certain. He would not let anyone, human or alien, take his daughter from him again. The forest trembled, shadows moved, and the hum of approaching ships grew louder. Darius took a deep breath, raising his rifle, and whispered to Alara, "Hold my hand. We fight together." The war reignites. The forest trembled under the roar of alien engines above. Searchlights sliced through the trees, painting long shadows on the ground. Darius tightened his grip on Alara's hand, feeling the energy pulsing faintly through her veins. Her glow had dimmed after the escape, but he knew it was only temporary. "They're everywhere," Alara whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of distant explosions. "Father, I can't hide anymore." Darius's jaw tightened. "We'll face them. Together." From the sky, a massive alien ship descended, casting its shadow over the forest like a moving mountain. Its hull gleamed with strange energy, and the hum of its engines resonated deep in the ground. Alien troops poured out of smaller dropships, their weapons glowing ominously. Darius scanned the clearing. His soldiers, scattered from the base attack, regrouped behind him, ready to defend the girl they barely understood. But the humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and unprepared for what was coming. Alara stepped forward, trembling, her hands glowing faintly. "Father, I don't know if I can control it again." "If I do, I might hurt you. Everyone." Darius shook his head. "Listen to me. You are stronger than your fear. You are my daughter, Alara. That is who you are. Trust yourself." "Trust me." The alien commander emerged from the main ship, his eyes glowing red. "You cannot escape, human. She belongs to us. She is the key to our survival. Return her now, or all of this, your precious humans, your weapons, will burn." Darius raised his rifle, but he knew it would not be enough. The aliens were far too powerful. He looked at Alara, and in that moment he made a decision. "You will not take her," he shouted. "Not now, not ever." Alara's hands flared with energy. Light shot from her fingertips, rippling through the clearing. Trees bent and cracked under the force, leaves igniting in tiny sparks. Alien soldiers were thrown off their feet, some screaming, some frozen in fear. Her voice rang out, a mixture of human and alien tones, as if two beings were speaking at once. I am not yours." The alien commander's eyes widened in shock. "Impossible. You cannot defy us like this." But she did. Alara's powers surged uncontrollably, radiating from her in waves of energy that shook the ground, cracked the earth, and sent shockwaves across the battlefield. Darius shielded himself, his heart pounding with fear and awe. "Father," she cried, I don't know what I'm doing." "You are doing exactly what you must," he shouted back. "Control it. Focus on me." Her eyes met his, and the energy responded. Slowly, carefully, the surge stabilized. Alien troops fell back, confused and frightened. Even their massive ship seemed to hesitate, its engines flickering under the strain of her power. Darius saw his chance. He charged forward, Alara beside him, leading the remaining human soldiers into the fray. Bullets, beams, and fire erupted all around them. Every step was a battle, every breath a fight for survival. But Alara was no longer just a child. She was the key, the turning point. With a roar, she unleashed a focused wave of energy, sending the alien commander sprawling, his forces scattering. Humans cheered, but Darius kept his eyes on her. "Ilara, stay with me." She nodded, her powers trembling at the edges, still uncontrollable. Together they pressed forward, cutting through enemy lines, the forest alive with the clash of fire and light. Then as the battle reached its peak, a new shadow appeared above. Larger, darker, and more powerful than anything they had seen, a ship unlike the others descended silently, cloaked in a black shimmer. Its engines hummed with a sound that vibrated in the very bones of those on the ground. Ilara's eyes widened. "Father, that's not theirs." Darius felt a chill. He had been prepared for human enemies, for the aliens who had experimented on his daughter. But this was something else entirely. Something unknown. From the ship a voice echoed, not mechanical, not alien, but ancient and commanding. "Child of two worlds, your time has come. Choose wisely or all will fall." Darius felt her trembling beside him. Her powers pulsed with energy he had never seen, stronger than any human weapon, brighter than the alien's fire. "You are my daughter," he shouted, holding her close. "Not a weapon, not a tool, not theirs. Yours to choose, only yours." Ilara's eyes shone with tears, her chest heaving. Then slowly, deliberately, she lifted her hands and unleashed a controlled pulse of light so powerful it stopped everything. Ships froze mid-air, soldiers fell silent, and even the shadowed ship hesitated. The forest glowed with pure energy. When the light faded, silence fell. The aliens were defeated, not destroyed but held back. The humans looked on in awe. Darius felt Ilara's small hand grip his. "You did it," he whispered. "No, we did it," she replied, her voice soft but steady. "Together." For the first time in years, Darius allowed himself to smile. His daughter was alive, not a weapon, not their property, but hers. And though the war had not truly ended, hope burned brighter than any fire, stronger than any enemy. Then, from the shadows, a faint hum returned, a warning, a whisper from the unknown ship. Ilara's eyes widened. "Father, someone else is coming." Darius's hand tightened on hers. "Then we face them. Together. Always." And together, father and daughter stepped forward, ready for whatever the universe would throw at them next. End of Part 7. Series finale.